What's up everybody, this is Scandal, and this is my how to carry yourself out of bronze using the ADC Jinx. Let's jump right into her kit. Right off the bat, we see Jinx's passive Get Excited. Jinx receives massively increased movement speed whenever she damages an enemy champion, tower, or inhibitor that is killed or destroyed within 3 seconds. Now this is an amazing ability because it allows you to grab a kill in a team fight, chase down enemies that are trying to get away, allows you to get away after you take a turret, so on and so forth. A great ability. Moving on to her Q, I want to actually spend a little bit of extra time on this ability because there's actually quite a bit involved in it. Our Q is Switcheroo. Jinx modifies her basic attacks by swapping between Pow Pow, her minigun, and Fishbones for rocket launcher. Attacks with Pow Pow grant attack speed, while attacks with Fishbones deal area effect damage, gain increased range, and drain mana. So basically, with your Q, whenever you have Pow Pow up, you're going to gain attack speed up to 3 times, and then whenever you switch to your your rocket launcher, it will actually use these 3 stacks and decrease the attack speed that you have. Your rocket launcher actually gives you increased range, so if you can't quite hit them with your minigun, you can always switch to your rocket launcher and hit them that way. The rocket launcher actually also does area effects, so it will actually splash a little bit, do a little extra damage, and it actually drains a little bit of mana. Not a significant amount, but if you can continually use it, if you have a blue buff or whatever, then you will actually drain quite a bit of mana in that specific time frame. Alright, moving on to Jinx's W. This is Zap. Jinx uses Zapper, her shock pistol, to fire a blast that deals damage to the first enemy hit, slowing and revealing it if it's not stealth. Now this is pretty self-explanatory. It's a great idea. It's a great ability to poke with, or it's a great ability to slow so that your support or whatnot can get another slow, or you can get choppers down behind. Next we're going to talk about Jinx's E, Flame Chompers. Jinx throws out a line of snare grenades that explode after 5 seconds, lighting enemies on fire. Flame Chompers will bite enemy champions who walk over them, rooting them in place. Great ability, works for both offensive to secure that kill, but defensive, as you'll see in this video when I drop it, and am able to get away from Sivir because she used her spell shield a little bit early. So great ability for both offensive and defensive. Lastly, we're going to talk about Jinx's R, her ultimate Super Mega Death Rocket. Jinx fires a super rocket across the map that gains damage as it travels. The rocket will explode upon colliding with an enemy champion, dealing damage to it and surrounding enemies based on their missing health. So what I see a lot of errors going on with this rocket, though, from a lot of low elo Jinxes, is they try to use it mid or beginning of the fight. It's a bad call. It does more damage the further it travels, so you want to try to shoot as far away as possible across the map if available. But you want to use it as an execute. You want to execute the person you're going after because it does more damage the less health they have. Okay, next I want to go over Masteries. By all means, you can change these for whatever Masteries you think are better. These are just what I use. I put 4 points in Fury, 1 point in Exposed Weakness, 3 points in Brute Force, 1 in Martial Mastery, 3 in Executioner, 3 in Warlord, 1 in Dangerous Game, 1 in Frenzy, 3 in Devastating Strikes, 1 in Havoc. Then I move over to the defensive tree, where I put 2 in Block, 2 in Enchanted Armor, 1 in Unyielding, 3 in Veteran Scars, and 1 in Juggernaut. So this is a typical 21-9 for me. By all means, change it to your likings. Feel free to give me advice at the end on why you think other ones are better in certain situations. Moving on to runes, I run 3 greater quintessences of attack speed. I run 9 greater glyphs of magic resist, 9 greater seals of armor. I run 8 greater marks of attack damage, thus 1 greater mark of attack speed. The reason I do that is because I'm kind of OCD and I want its attack speed to be right at 15%. Run whatever you want and change whatever you feel is more beneficial for you. And feel free to leave in comments what you think is better for your situations or your playstyle, and I will gladly try it out and change things if I need to. Alright, so let's jump right into some gameplay here. I want to point out firstly that I am no pro player, so there are mistakes that I make in this video. It's not a video of how amazing I am, or you should replicate everything that I do here in order to carry yourself out. These are just tips and a little bit of gameplay that I slow down certain situations so that you can see and maybe learn a little bit more off of my mistakes or what I do to take advantage of their mistakes. Nextly, I want to point out that I did a random queue. I did not queue with anybody. I have no idea who any of these people are. I've never played with them before. I feel like most of you who are trying to carry yourself out do this as a solo queue, not so much as a duo queue, so I wanted to play a game where I was doing a solo queue without any of my partners. In this game, I am playing Jinx ADC, obviously. I have a Braum support, a Ziggs mid, Teemo top, and a Volibear jungle, and we are going up against a Jaina and Sivir bot lane. We have a Morgana mid on their team, a Nasus top for them, and a Pantheon jungle. At the start there, you can go ahead and laugh at me. I was trying to fix my recording, and I actually walked out without buying anything, and my teammates were quick to point out that mistake. So, always try to laugh at yourself whenever you make stupid mistakes like that. There's no reason to get frustrated. I feel like that's another big issue with bronze, is that you tend to get frustrated with these games, and it carries on to the next games, and you tend to get a little toxic or go on tilt, and it's very easy to do that as you've lost 1, 2, or as many as 8 games in a row, which I have done before, and it is very, very frustrating. Remember that it's always good to stay positive, even if you're losing. I know it's a lot easier said than done. What I do is if I tend to lose 2 close games or just 2 really bad games in ranked, I will go to a normal, or I'll take a break and then come back, and I will still do a normal before I go back into my ranked games again, just to make sure that I am completely not on tilt. As you saw there, we leashed Volibear. It's always good to kind of leash on the other side of that wall so that you can get a straight line shot down to this lane and start CSing without losing any, if maybe 1 at the most. I want to talk a little bit about itemization with Jinx. Jinx, she's not so much set in stone, nor is just any ADC. There are certain ones that you want to build certain items first. Obviously, if you're going to go with like a Kog'Maw or a Corki, you want to get that Triforce or at least Sheen as soon as possible. But Jinx is a little bit more, you can kind of play a little bit more around with her. So you'll see in here that I kind of buy things a little bit awkwardly. Just so happened to be the way that things were going with this. Again, I'm running with a Braum that I've never played with before, and when you do this, and I'm sure most of you have seen this before, you don't necessarily know when or why your support goes in or does the things that he does. You just kind of hope to have some sort of communication, and if not, you just kind of hope to see a pattern that they run to fix things up. We almost get some kills here early on. We don't get them. I want to make another point of letting you guys know that trading kills is a great idea if you can do it properly. Most people cannot do it properly, and what happens is you'll see, your support will die to their ADC, and you make it a kill on their support or their ADC, which doesn't necessarily make it worth, unless you're playing a champion that benefits greatly from trading. As long as Draven doesn't die and he grabs a kill on whomever, if their support dies, he still gets that gold bonus, so it's okay to trade with someone like with his playstyle. So keep that in mind. Don't go off and dive turrets and stuff trying to get kills unless you're 100% sure you can get out. It's much better to farm and get that CS than it is to secure those kills and maybe take a death yourself. I always like to play the safe route when carrying myself out of bronze, because it's better safe than sorry. You can you can capitalize on their mistakes a lot easier if you're not making dumb ones of your own. But going back to itemization, in this video I actually pick up a pickaxe and then I wait for my boots. It just so happened to play out that way. I was pretty comfortable with this laning, so it was actually okay for me to do that. I do notice a lot of people in bronze and silver will pick up their BF sword right at 1550, or they'll stay in lane even though it's kind of scary, or maybe not the smartest thing, because they want to get that 1550 gold. It's not a bad thing to pick up that BF sword. It definitely allows you to trade better, but it's actually better and more beneficial for you to pick up a pickaxe, pick up your boots, get some vision and maybe some health pots to allow you to stay in lane and sustain this damage that's getting put out, and you'll still do some damage of your own, but you're able to actually stay in lane longer and then farm up that 1550 or whatnot later on. Another thing that I find a lot of low elo players can't do is freeze this lane. What you want to do is you want to try to get the minion wave to stay from river to your turret. You want it to be near your turret, but not actually crossing the river. The reason for that is it allows you to see the incoming jungle. He's going to have to come through your tri-bush to come gank you or dive a turret, which isn't very smart on his part. but it also allows you to make the enemy the laners down the bot lane have to actually walk further to get away, and so you can almost guarantee to get one or two flashes, maybe a heal, but you'll definitely get some summoner spells out, and then you know how long it is before they can do that again. Um, so it's always beneficial to try your best to keep that minion wave back that far. And in order to do this, you just let the creeps do all the damage for you, and you just last hit. A lot of people are just too impatient for that to happen, and that actually costs them in the long run because they lose CS, or because they're pushed too far, or they're not able to zone the enemy ADC out of getting any. That being said, I realize that in this video we don't exactly keep the minion waves at that point. The reason being only because I was almost rank 6. We had Sivir solo, and we really wanted to get her. I was chomping at the bit a little bit there to get rank 6 so I could throw out a rocket to kill her because her life was so low. But by the time I actually hit 6, we needed to get a Q off or something to drop her a little bit lower. Unfortunately, Braum and I both miss our skill shots, which happens to even the best of us, so we don't actually secure a kill here. But that's why we don't actually have the mini wave pushback so far. And as you can see, we actually pay for it without the vision and the fact that we're shoved up so much. We are very susceptible to this gank that happens. We have Morgana come down from mid, no ping from mid telling us that they're MIA, but that's not always the mid laner's fault or always the laner's fault where the enemy comes down from. And you still need to have that map awareness. You still need to have that vision to understand that you don't see them. So it's not 100% the fault of the person whose lane the enemy comes from. It's just a common courtesy to ping MIA whenever people are leaving your lane to go gank another lane, or you just don't know where they are. So Morgana comes down mid, and Pantheon ults in. I flash out of the Pantheon ult because I don't want to be slowed, I don't want to die here, and I throw out a heal to try to give Braum a little bit of movement speed. Braum actually almost dies. I use the minion wave to block Morgana's Q. Braum uses his shield to get back. Nobody dies. So that was very fortunate on our part, but not exactly ideal. So here's a big mistake on our part. Volibear has already died to these 4 here. I use an ult to try to just throw out a little bit of damage. Obviously wasn't expecting you to kill. We probably shouldn't have come down here after we knew that they had dragon. And especially here you'll see that Braum uses a Q into the bush, and I'm assuming that it is going to hit Jaina or Sivir. However, it doesn't hit either one of them, and then we see Pantheon come out of there with a shot, with a slow on him. We definitely are going to die here, and Sivir's going to get a double kill, which isn't a big deal because I was so far ahead in CS that it caught up for the amount of kills that she pulled off. Plus, as you see later on, I definitely catch up. As I previously stated, it's kind of hard to get some coordination with your support as an ADC if you're not actually talking to them via chat or voice, but I'm getting used to this Braum, and as you can see, he uses his shield a lot to initiate. So here he uses his shield, and I know he's going to go in. He gets an auto attack off, on Jaina there, and then we go in on Jaina a little bit, get some damage pumped into Sivir, and then I throw out some rockets to get a snare on this Jaina. And then Braum ults here, which is a great ult. He then switches to Sivir. We get some damage into him. I feel like I'm going to die, and again, like I said, better safe than sorry, so I back off. Braum actually gets the kill. No big deal. No reason to rage at your support for making such a great play there and actually taking a kill. Now, he's pinging for me to leave, but I'm like, nah, I can lifesteal this back to full health, and I should have listened because as you see, Pantheon ults down. He ends up killing me. Braum sticks around, tries to get a kill on Jaina. She gets away, but then she comes back. I'm not sure why. He gets the Q off, so he pulls off a double kill. I get double assists. He dies to Pantheon, and they actually push this turret. I'm actually apologizing because, like I said, I should have definitely listened to him and backed off. Okay, I want to go ahead and apologize here. I know that for the most part in this beginning parts, whenever I'm explaining these fights, it happens to a little bit after the video has already shown it. Again, this is a first video, so this will definitely fix itself later on in the video, and then also in videos to come I'll make sure that this doesn't happen. Just wanted to go ahead and apologize for that, so you guys don't get a little bit irritated with me. Alright, so as we are walking up to the river here, we are trying to get a good gank here on Morgana, and as we're walking up we see Pantheon coming down. I miss my zap because I'm trying to lead him. Braum gets an auto and then a Q. We stun him. He's getting close, so I ult and then I just auto attack and kill him. and then we rotate here to mid and try to help out trying to take this turret. We see bot lane kind of rotating up, so we know that there's going to be a good fight here. Again, I try to lead the queue, doesn't work because they back off. I throw my chompers there to stop them from flashing the wall or coming in at us. So the reason that I really want to point out this fight here and why I slow it down, not because we land a kill, but because you need to be aware of certain things. As you can see here, Jaina shields Sivir, but then she also uses her spell shield, which is not a bad thing per se, but you'll see why it costs her. Pantheon ults in, I flash the wall, she comes after me, I throw chompers. Now if she had her spell shield, she could have spell shielded that chompers and gotten a kill on me, but instead she backs off. I don't see where she goes, and I'm backing, and then I realize, oh god, she can hit me with a Q, so I want to get into my base or to a safer spot to back. And you really need to pay attention about your enemy's abilities before you back into just random places. Okay, so after we back and do all that, I shoot an ult down the middle here, hoping to catch this Morgana, who I know is low, but it definitely doesn't hit anybody. But what it does do is it allows us to know that there's nobody in that way, so we kind of know that they are at dragon. Volley immediately reacts and heads to dragon, gets a bite, and then a smite off. We are here, and this is why I lead my zaps. I lead this Jaina, it hits her and slows her, it allows me to get a kill here. So yeah, you miss a few if you lead because they don't follow, but you know, get them too. Volley bites the Sivir, we kill her. Before I showed you a defensive way to use chompers to keep them from killing you, or to keep them from even walking up near you. This time I showed you a little bit of an offensive way to utilize your chompers in securing a kill there on Morgana after her black shield was gone. So after that kill, we head back into lane and we push it down to river, because once again, this is where you want to try to keep the lane, so that you can continue to keep that map pressure going on, at least have that map pressure in your favor. So immediately following pushing this lane through, I'm about to back and Braum is clearing this vision ward. We see them come and try to stop him, so we just kind of get out of there. We are going to back, and then we see this fight that's about to happen in mid. As you see, Teemo's about to die up top, but we have good surrounding here on Morgana. She's kind of trapped with this Volibear and Braum collapsing. They collapse on her, she ends up flashing and getting away. Nothing special here. I want to slow it down though, because I want to talk a little bit about this minimap and map awareness. We do get a kill here with this volley throwing the Sivir up. She tries to get away, I ult and kill her. Nasus TP's in, and Volibear for some reason decides he wants to go a little hamster and gets into the turret. Now using your map awareness, I notice that he's down there and he's low and he's getting chased by Jaina and Morgana, so I come down, pop off a heal, and we put some damage in. Nasus tries to come in, Braum shields, Qs, we get him stunned. No big kills at the end here, except for Pantheon, who I think after Morgana runs away, Pantheon thinks that he's going to that his team's going to collapse with him, but they don't, and he pays with his life. So this is just a quick glimpse of how good map awareness can actually help your teammates, because it actually saved Volibear's life here. We get a little damage in on the turret. Not all. We don't actually take it all the way down. Ziggs gets snared. No deaths. No big deals here. So again, I head down to bot lane to push that lane out a little bit. I try to tell Ziggs and Volibear to get to mid before they take it, but they like that blue buff, so I kind of tell them that I don't think blue buff is worth that turret. Just to elaborate a little bit more on this mini map awareness and the map awareness of where your enemies and where your teammates are all at all times, we're going to talk about this little incident that happens here. We're able to see that there are two mid right now, and Nasus kills Teemo top, so he's kind of top lane. So I come down here just to push the lane down to the river. Now as I'm pushing the lane, I soon realize that I have vision on all 5 of them. There are 3 mid, 2 top. So in knowing that I can see this on the minimap, I know that they're not going to stop us. So we're able to take this turret bot lane. But what I do not expect is that they just continue to fight. They don't even try to stop us. So us having their awareness of where their enemy team is and them not paying much attention to Braum and I down here, we are actually able to take 3 turrets here. On the way down, I ping that we should definitely get Teemo to get to mid lane to stop this Sivir from pushing. He doesn't pay much attention, and he tries to get up to top lane to help out this Ziggs. So we actually lose a tier 2 mid turret, but we gain 3 turrets bot lane and open up an inhib. What I would like to kind of talk about is that tier 2 mid turret was definitely not worth the tier 1 protection up top lane. It would have been much better just to give up that top lane, that tier 1 top lane turret, and stop Sivir from pushing the mid turret. So just wanted to show that having that little bit of map awareness is actually very beneficial. Here I'm going to demonstrate a little bit of Jinx passive. It's not as prominent as later on, but you still get to see it a little bit. After we push this turret, I'm able to get out of town quickly and avoid this Jaina from slowing us down or anything. Braum and I actually get all the way back and take a dragon, and then we go ahead and back and buy. So a little bit of map awareness got us 3 turrets for 1 turret, and we were actually able to open up an inhib bot lane. Okay, so as I'm going back and buying, I realized that I could pick up Last Whisper, but instead I pick up QSS, Quicksilver Sash. Let me go ahead and explain a little bit here. The ability, the item Quicksilver Slash is so valuable, and I don't know if bronze and silver players just don't know what it does, don't know its value, or they just don't know how to utilize it correctly, or they just don't think it's worth anything. But QSS is one of the greatest items in the game, and it completely removes any sort of slow, snare, stun, or any kind of impairment on you. So it's vastly beneficial for you to pick this item up. And in a little bit I'll actually show you when to use, or why using QSS actually allowed me to live. Before we get to that and showing you how it allows me to live, I want to show you a quick little trick here that some people might not know about. You can actually dodge minion waves and allow your opponent to not know where you're at. I was able to completely dodge that minion wave going for this inhib, and it allowed the other team to not even know that I was at the inhib until it was too late. They backed, but I was already going to take this inhib, and again, Jinx's passive allows me to avoid this gank. I could have turned and helped Braum, and I probably could have actually killed Sivir, but I was just trying to get out of town after taking that inhib. So that was an amazing move by Braum to save me, and he definitely points out that we could have killed her, and he's right. So right here is where utilizing QSS is so important. We get into a fight down here where Nasus TP's in, and we get some damage in on Nasus, and Jaina actually dies here. And I'm going to zoom in whenever Wither is put on me. Now Wither is this little black debuff that I get put on me after we killed Jaina here. I'm going to zoom in, and then about halfway through I'm going to QSS. So here we go. So right about here, Wither is put on me, and at halfway through I QSS, and I'm able to actually remove the slow that Nasus puts on me. Braum dies there, but I just wanted to definitely point out to you that QSS is well worth the gold, and then you can easily build it into a scimitar for added AD, MR, and still be able to utilize that impairing removal. Well, that's it for me, guys. The rest of this video is just the completion of this game. There's nothing really hugely important. There is one part where we go and take this mid turret, inhib turret, and I take the damage and I back off, but I don't let it reset fast enough, and I don't realize that I'm taking the damage and I actually die. I hope you get a good laugh out of that. I do hope that some of the information in here was beneficial to you. I hope that you utilize it and make your game a little bit stronger. I will be posting some more of these videos with different champions and different lanes, so feel free to leave some comments on who you would like to see, what lane you would like to see, and if you have any advice or tips that can help me boost myself as well, I'm more than welcome to take them. Leave them in the comments. I don't care if it's good or bad. You can tell me I'm stupid for doing certain things. It's okay. You're not going to hurt my feelings. I just want to better myself and help everybody else better themselves. So please like, subscribe, leave your comments, any information, and it'd be greatly appreciated. I'll see you guys next time.
Man coming. derrière! Volgt mij!
The sweetie man coming. Hello, little dog. The sweetie man coming. It's the sweetie man coming.